I looked at the basket of laundry. It was a mountain. In real time, folding a fitted sheet takes 4 hours and ends in tears. Cue the music, I whispered. I imagined an upbeat 80s synth pop track, the montage. I didn't dwell on the individual socks. I saw the highlights. Flash, shirt folded. Flash, towel stacked. Flash, me wiping sweat from my brow like a hero. The montage creates a self-care highlight reel. It compresses the boring stuff into a minute of triumph. By viewing the chore as a snappy sequence of progress, I didn't feel bogged down. I felt like I was in a training video for being a functional adult. Cue final freeze frame high five. My alarm went off. Usually this is a jump scare, but today I decided to edit my morning with a J-cut. While my eyes were still closed, I let the sound of the birds chirping outside bleed in. The audio arrived before the visual. It was a gentle invitation to wake up rather than a demand. Later, I used an L cut. I walked out of the kitchen, but I let the sound of the kettle boiling linger in my mind as I entered the living room. Audio and video doing a polite do-si-do prevents the day from feeling choppy. It smooths the edges. Life feels less like a series of harsh interruptions and more like a flowing river of sensory experiences. No one stepped on anyone's toes. I needed to discuss a serious matter with my plant, Sir Pothos. He looked thirsty. I stood over him. Do you want water? I looked at his drooping leaf. He says nothing, but the subtext is loud. Okay, I hear you. It was a ping-pong rally of faces that kept the dialogue feeling friendly. Even though one half of the conversation was vegetative, the framing validated our relationship. It wasn't just me talking to dirt. It was a scene. It was a connection. By framing him as an equal partner in the dialogue, I felt less lonely and he got watered. Win-win. I sat at the dining table. My coffee was on my right, my toast was on my left. An invisible line ran through the center of the table. Do not cross the axis, I warned myself. If I were to suddenly jump to the other side of the room, the coffee would appear to jump to the left. Disorientation would ensue. I would spiral. The 180-degree rule is an imaginary safety rail. It keeps the geography of my life consistent. I stayed on my side of the line, grounded in space and time. Knowing where my beverage is located relative to my hand is a cornerstone of my emotional well-being. The axis holds the room together, so I don't have to ask, where am I? I took a photo of my lunch. It was okay. I took another one from almost the exact same spot. It looked like a mistake, a glitch in the matrix. Move, I told myself, at least 30 degrees. I took 2 steps to the side. Snap, the 30-degree rule. By shifting my angle significantly, the second shot felt fresh. It wasn't just a duplicate, it was a new perspective. It avoids that awkward déjà vu feeling. I realize this applies to my brain too. If I'm stuck on a problem, thinking the exact same thought twice just feels like a glitch. I need to mentally move 30 degrees, change the chair, change the music, to see the sandwich or the problem clearly again. I walked from the bedroom to the kitchen. I was on a mission for snacks. If in the hallway I suddenly turned around and walked right to left, it would look like I had forgotten something. It would look like retreat. Screen direction. I maintained my vector. I moved left to right, the universal cinematic direction for progress. I didn't unexpectedly moonwalk across the frame. I marched with purpose. Even if that purpose was just cheese and crackers, maintaining my screen direction made it feel like a quest. I am not wandering aimlessly. I am advancing the plot toward the pantry. I've been delving into the core concepts of visual storytelling, specifically focusing on the techniques within Concepts 4550. The interplay between montage, L-cuts, J-cuts, the shot reverse shot method, the 180-degree rule, and the 30-degree rule is fascinating. I'm actively exploring their synergistic impact on narrative flow and viewer engagement. I'm now thinking about writing vignettes that showcase specific cinematography concepts using soft novel structure. The focus is humor and emotional well-being with gentle, self-deprecating jokes to make learning more approachable. For montage, I'm picturing an over-the-top music-filled scenario about cleaning, highlighting the difference between the mundane task and its cinematic potential. The use of bite-sized encouragement is crucial. With L-cuts and J-cuts, the scenario is around smoothing transitions. I'm developing a vignette to illustrate smooth transitions, focusing on how a scene prevents that jarring feeling of sudden shifts. I'm also planning to showcase shot reverse shot with a humorous conversation with a houseplant about watering schedules. I'm exploring the 180-degree rule using the feeling of disorientation. The 30-degree rule will incorporate silly selfies and all should evoke the emotions of emotional stability. I'm now zeroing in on screen direction. I'm focusing on moonwalking to emphasize purpose and momentum with a self-aware, awkward déjà vu to soften the didactic tone. I'm imagining the character's journey to the fridge, the visual implications of their direction, and how breaking the direction messes up the flow. I'm now focusing on how the 30-degree rule can be integrated into the vignettes. The photo-taking activity is a great fit, and I envision a shimmy as a creative yoga pose. Progress and retreat are clear in the character's journey to the mailbox. I'm making sure to weave the technical aspects into the narrative, keeping the tone light and approachable. I'm now in the process of finalizing the structure for my vignettes, particularly focusing on the application of the 30-degree rule. The creative yoga pose concept for photo taking feels like a great fit, and I am incorporating it seamlessly. Furthermore, I've visualized the mailbox journey, which has solidified how the concepts of progress and retreat are clear. The main goal is to embed the technical aspects and to preserve the light and approachable tone of the narrative. I looked at the basket of laundry. It was a mountain. In real time, folding a fitted sheet takes 4 hours and ends in tears. I imagined an upbeat 80s synth pop track. The montage creates a self-care highlight reel. It compresses the boring stuff into a minute of triumph. By viewing the chore as a snappy sequence of progress, I didn't feel bogged down. I felt like I was in a training video for being a functional adult. Cue final freeze frame high five, my alarm went off. Usually, this is a jump scare, but today I decided to edit my morning with a J-cut. While my eyes were still closed, I let the sound of the birds chirping outside bleed in. It was a gentle invitation to wake up, rather than a demand. Later, I used an L-cut. Audio and video doing a polite do-si-do prevents the day from feeling choppy. It smooths the edges. Life feels less like a series of harsh interruptions and more like a flowing river of sensory experiences. I needed to discuss a serious matter with my plant, Sir Pothos. He looked thirsty. I stood over him. Do you want water? I looked at his drooping leaf. Okay, I hear you. It was a ping-pong rally of faces that kept the dialogue feeling friendly. Even though one half of the conversation was vegetative, the framing validated our relationship. It wasn't just me talking to dirt, it was a scene, it was a connection. I've been meticulously revisiting the core concepts of cinematography. This is proving to be a highly effective exercise. My focus is narrowing to the most crucial, potent visual ideas from the collection. Now, my thoughts are gravitating toward ways to effectively translate these ideas into compelling narrative elements that resonate more deeply. I'm focusing on the best ideas that can connect with the audience most easily. I'm now building out narrative structures around the core cinematography concepts. The focus is on short vignettes linked by a relatable narrator. I'm aiming for a humorous, emotionally grounded tone. My recent brainstorming has yielded promising ideas, like the multitasking lens for a split diopter and internal Steadicam struggles with carrying coffee. I'm exploring the human wobble of a handheld camera and my own caffeine jitters. I see the foundation of a deeper story beginning to form. I'm now integrating the visual ideas into comedic scenarios. For example, I'm imagining the human wobble as a funny representation of nerves. Static shots evoke boredom, like watching paint dry. I'm exploring jokes around the visual feeling of anxiety and the polite stroll, adding humor. I'm translating the core cinematography principles into character traits and visual jokes. For instance, the split diopter becomes a multitasking calmly persona. My Steadicam, a floating camera cuddle for zen balance. Handheld embodies a human wobble for friendly small talk, and the tripod is a serene tree. The tracking shot evolves into a cinematic stroll or a metaphor. I'm now drafting new chapters focused on specific cinematography techniques. Chapter 31's dolly shot is a train ride done with a swivel chair and snack. Chapter 32 explores the dolly zoom as a gentle roller coaster effect, perhaps caused by realizing the cookie jar is empty on a Monday. I'm solidifying the metaphors that embody different shots. My narrative comfort land is taking shape nicely. I'm focusing on the gentle roller coaster feeling that a dolly zoom can create, especially when something mundane is happening. My goal is to finish the metaphor writing process. I had a dilemma. In the foreground, 6 inches from my face, was a magnificent slice of lemon cake. In the background, 10 feet away, was my cat Mittens, doing something adorable with a piece of string. My eyes couldn't focus on both. It was a tragedy of depth perception. I didn't want to choose between snacks and entertainment, so I slapped on a split diopter. It's a weird half lens that lets you keep the near and the far sharp at the same time. Suddenly, I had it all. Crisp cake, crisp cat. The lens was multitasking, so my brain didn't have to. It felt like a visual superpower. "Thank you," I told the glass. "You are holding this reality together so I can just sit here and enjoy the duality of existence." It's nice when the equipment does the heavy lifting of paying attention for you. I filled my mug to the absolute brim. The surface tension was the only thing keeping the Earl Grey from becoming a floor feature. I needed to walk from the kitchen to the sofa. "Activate internal Steadicam," I whispered. I bent my knees. I loosened my grip. I floated. A Steadicam is a counterweighted rig that glides like it's on roller skates with Zen balance. I became the rig. My torso remained upright while my legs absorbed the shock of the floorboards. I drifted through the living room like a ghost with a beverage. I didn't spill a drop. The floating camera cuddle effect is real. When you move with that kind of smooth intention, you feel like nothing can shake you. Not the rug, not the cat toy, not the looming deadlines. Just smooth sailing. The next morning, the Steadicam mode was offline. I had consumed too much espresso. My hands had a slight rhythmic vibration. I picked up the camera. The image bobbed. "This is not a mistake," I declared. "This is handheld." I spilled coffee on my favorite white shirt. In the immediate moment, this was a tragedy of Shakespearean proportions. It was the end of days. It was a stain on my very soul. But then I deployed the extreme wide shot. I mentally pulled the camera back, way back, up past the ceiling fan, through the roof, up into the clouds. I imagined looking down at my house from the International Space Station. From up there, you can't see the coffee stain. You can't even see the shirt. You just see a beautiful blue marble floating in silence. The EWS is my anxiety medication. It reminds me that I am just a tiny, microscopic speck on a lovely rock spinning around a star. And if I am that small, then my coffee stain is positively subatomic. I took a deep breath, feeling the vast, cooling distance of the universe, and went to find the stain remover. The galaxy remains unbothered, and so shall I. I set the table for dinner. Just me, a plate of pasta, a glass of water, and a very judgmental candle. I looked through the viewfinder of my mind. The framing felt tight, claustrophobic. "We need more context," I whispered. I stepped back into a wide shot. I adjusted the chair so it wasn't jamming the table. I moved the salt shaker, the shy cousin of the condiment family, into the frame so it wouldn't feel left out. I opened the curtains to let the twilight in. Now the frame breathed. It wasn't just man eating noodles, it was human existing in a habitat. The wide shot is democratic. It lets the room speak. It reminded me that I'm not trapped in my head. I'm sitting in a physical space that supports me. I ate my pasta with plenty of elbow room, enjoying the company of the room itself. I walked into the coffee shop. The barista asked, "How are you?" Now, if I were in a close-up mindset, I might have said, "Well, I have existential dread and my left knee clicks when it rains." If I were in a wide-shot mindset, I might have shouted, "We are all stardust." But we were in a medium shot, the Goldilocks zone. "I'm doing well, thanks. Can I get a latte?" I replied. The medium shot is the cozy sweater of social interaction. It's waist up. It captures the smile and the hand gestures, but it crops out the trembling knees or the untied shoelaces. It's a safe distance where we can exchange pleasantries without needing to exchange souls. We smiled, we transacted, we stayed comfortably framed. It was a perfect low-stakes scene. I caught my reflection in the hallway mirror. I looked tired. The bags under my eyes had their own luggage tags. I leaned in. The frame tightened. Shoulders and head only. Close up. This is the distance of empathy. The camera wasn't analyzing my pause, it was listening to my thoughts. It was the visual equivalent of a hand on the shoulder. "Hey," I told my reflection, "you're doing a good job. You kept the plants alive today." In a close-up, you can't hide, but you also don't have to perform. You just have to be. My reflection seemed to soften. The close-up isn't an interrogation, it's a warm cup of tea for your self-esteem. I held eye contact with myself for a beat longer than usual, just to say, "I'm here, I'm listening." My cat, Barnaby, jumped onto my chest and purred like a diesel engine. I looked at his nose. It was pink, wet, and twitching. I zoomed in with my eyes until his nose filled my entire field of vision, extreme close-up. At this proximity, the world dissolves. There is no rent, no emails, no gravity. There is only the texture of the nose. I saw the tiny individual whiskers. I saw the microscopic leather grain of his paw pads. It was a visual boop. The ECU forces you to fall in love with the details. It turns the mundane into the miraculous. I lightly tapped his nose, the literal boop, and he blinked slowly. For that split second, the entire universe was contained in a single, fuzzy pixel of cat, and it was perfect. I have a director in my head. He is loud, anxious, and constantly shouting things like, "We are doomed, the script is a tragedy, the lighting is too grey." But then, there is my internal DP. The DP is the artist. The DP looks at the director's panic and says, calmly, "I hear you, but what if we lit this tragedy with a warm, amber backlight?" Today, the director screamed, "It's raining, ruined." My internal DP whispered, "Actually, look at the reflections in the puddle. Look at the texture on the window. We can work with this. We can make it moody and romantic." The DP translates the chaos of life into a visual language I can handle. Being your own DP means looking at a messy room and deciding it's not a disaster, it's an atmospheric set design. It's a very powerful position to hold. I sat in the gloom of 4 o'clock p.m. The sun had quit for the day. My energy was fading. "We're losing the light," I cried out to the empty room. Then I stood up and walked to the floor lamp. I was acting as my own gaffer. The gaffer is the head of the lighting department. They bring the voltage. I clicked the switch. Clicked. A warm 60-watt glow bathed the sofa. "Let there be light," I said, feeling biblical and cozy. We often forget we have the power to change the atmosphere. We are the gaffers of our own evenings. We can dim the harsh lights of stress. We can switch on the soft lamps of comfort. I thanked the lamp, my Best Boy Electric, and basked in the artificial sunshine. I flopped onto the couch. It caught me. It held me. It didn't complain. "Thank you, Key Grip," I mumbled into the cushion. The grip department handles the support, the stands, the rigs, the safety. In my life, the grips are the floor, which has never dropped me, not once, the chair, which supports my posture, and my own skeleton, which is doing a great job against gravity. Acknowledging the grips means acknowledging that I am supported. I am not floating in a void. I am held up by a network of sturdy things. The ground is solid. The chair is strong. My knees are trying their best. It's nice to know the equipment is holding steady. I navigated the living room in the dark to get water. I dodged the coffee table. I sidestepped the cat. I pirouetted around the laundry basket. I was the camera operator. The operator holds the heavy camera and moves with grace, executing the dance of the shot. If they stumble, the audience feels it. I moved with liquid smoothness. I didn't stub a toe. I felt the flow of the room. Being a good operator in life means moving through your environment with awareness, rather than crashing through it like a bull in a china shop. I reached the kitchen, poured the water and whispered, "Cut, perfect take." I sat at my desk, overwhelmed. I was looking at everything at once. The bills, the emails, the dust, the future. Everything was blurry because I was trying to focus on infinity. I need a focus puller, I realized. The first AC's job is to measure the distance and keep the subject sharp. They decide what we look at. I imagined a tiny assistant in my brain spinning the focus wheel. Zip. The bills went blurry. Zip. The future went blurry. Click. The hot mug of tea in front of me became crystal clear, sharp, defined. "We are focusing on the tea," the first AC announced. It was a relief. You can't keep the whole world in focus at f1 before. You have to choose your focal point. I trusted my internal focus puller, stared at the steam rising from the mug, and let the rest of the world exist in the soft, blurry background. I needed to see the top of my refrigerator. It's a dusty wasteland I usually ignore, but today I felt adventurous. I grabbed a stepladder and my camera. I ascended slowly, lifting the camera high above my head in a sweeping arc. Suddenly, my kitchen transformed. I wasn't just standing in it, I was soaring over it. The dirty dishes in the sink looked like tiny boats in a ceramic harbor. The toaster looked like a small chrome city. "I am flying," I whispered, swaying slightly on the ladder. The crane shot gives the camera a brief flying lesson. It creates a sense of grandeur out of the mundane. Seeing my kitchen from the perspective of a bewildered bird made me appreciate the ecosystem of my home. And yes, there was a lot of dust up there, but from this height, it looked like snow, beautiful. I sat in my office chair feeling low. Literally and metaphorically, the deadlines were piling up. I looked at my desk lamp, which is on a swing arm. I moved it up and down, swoosh, swoosh. It inspired me. I picked up my camera and mimicked the motion, a smooth vertical arc from the floor to eye level. Hop on, the imaginary jib whispered. I'll lift your spirits a meter or two. Rising up with the camera felt like taking a deep breath. I started looking at the carpet, stress, and ended looking at the window, hope. The jib shot is a mechanical mood lifter. It reminds you that you don't have to stay down. You can just swing up a few feet and see a whole new layer of the room. I jibbed myself up to standing and went to get a snack. Spirits lifted. I was stuck in traffic. The cars were honking. The exhaust was smelly. I closed my eyes, parked car, safety first. I engaged my mental drone. I imagined floating up, straight through the roof of my sedan, up past the power lines, up until the cars looked like colourful skittles lined up on a grey ribbon. From up here, the honking was silent. The stress was invisible. The camera spreads its wings and offers a scenic mindfulness break. Look at the traffic, I cooed to myself. It creates a lovely pattern. Disconnecting from the ground level creates peace. I hovered there for a moment, a serene seagull of the mind, before slowly descending back into my Honda Civic. I felt remarkably calmer. The view is always better when you aren't in the bumper-to-bumper of it. I went to the beach to watch the sunset. I wanted to capture the whole horizon, but my lens wasn't wide enough. I planted my feet in the sand. I rotated my hips slowly to the right. It was a slow head turn for the camera. I took in the pier, the water, the sun, the dog chasing a frisbee. No need for a chiropractor, I thought, feeling my spine rotate gently. A smooth pan is an act of patience. You can't rush it, or the audience gets motion sickness. You have to honor every inch of the view. I scanned the horizon like a lighthouse beam, appreciating the fact that the world is 360 degrees of interesting if you just take the time to turn your head. I stood in front of a redwood tree. It was tall, ridiculously tall. I started at the roots. I tilted the camera up and up and up, my neck craning back until I was looking straight up my own nostrils. The camera nodded up as if saying, "Yes, dear viewer, look there." And keep looking. It felt like a gesture of agreement with nature. "Yes, tree," I nodded. "You are magnificent." A vertical tilt connects the earth to the sky. It reminded me that I am grounded, but I can still look up. It's a nice stretch for the soul and the cervical spine. I tilted back down to earth, feeling aligned.